contact already, and the number 3 goes sideways fire into the wall. And he's already bounced off the side of the car next to him. I'm not sure if they just wobbled.
And a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to round 3 of the HRSC Trans Am Racing Challenge. We are at Billionaire's Gamble this month at Circuit Mont-Tremblant, 2.62 miles. This is going to be an absolute cracker tonight. My name is David Christie, and it is my absolute pleasure to be here in the commentary booth. We are holding it together with shoestrings tonight, but we will get there no matter how. But joining me in the booth tonight for this race here at round 3 is a very warm welcome to Nico Hillebrands. We'll be speaking to Nico a little bit later on, but you can see here the calendar, round 3 here of a 7-round challenge at Circuit Mont-Tremblant. Then we're off to Lenmore Park, Bridgehampton, then we're off to the Boots at Watkins Glen, and then Sonoma Raceway. Really looking forward to that in the middle of July. That is what we've got to come up. But in terms of tonight as well, obviously we've just come off of 250 miles of Elkhart Lake. So why don't we go and check what happens last time out and see all the action from round 2. Here we go then, round 2 of the Genisus Extreme HRSC Trans Am Racing Challenge. This is the 250 miles of Elkhart Lake. We are about to go green flag as Jenny Shimicic and David Mirocek gets things underway here as we will go for 62 laps, and we are underway. The 2 Pontiac Firebirds lead things off. You've got Devin Brown just behind there in the Chevy Camaro in that number 22. He'll be wanting to tuck in early. Now, for those of you wondering what to expect here, it is going to be thrills and spills pretty much from the get-go here, but they are going to try and calm themselves down as quickly as they possibly can. They've already got a yellow flag kicking off a little bit further behind. I think that's the number 31 of Birchfield that's got himself into some drama here, but this is kind of what we expect here from these pro cars at the front of the field. It's a very, very orderly start here, but it does look like Oskari Kantanen eager to try and make some moves here, Jake, as that is Rhys Gardner all over the back of Devin Brown. It's one of those types of racing where steering with the throttle is an absolute necessity, as there goes a move then up the inside. That is going to be the number 41 there of Tom D to take that position. The 41 moves up into 8th position. But in the meantime, let's go and check out a quick replay of some previous action. This is Rhys Gardner, so this is going to be how he lost that time, I believe, and this is going to be coming through and, well, straight off, thankfully avoiding any of the barriers there. But again, you lock up the brakes here, Jake, at the Canada corner, and you're going to be straight off into the scene of the accident.
See, definitely under brakes. They are struggling to get it slowed after the Marine sweep, just because gravity's working against them. There's 2 in trouble.
Yeah, that's a big moment there. That's the 1-2-4 of Robin de Vos that is facing the wrong way right now. That is just after, I believe, turn 6. That's just before they go through the hurry downs then, as he waits for a safe place to rejoin. Great awareness there, just keeps the car locked down and waits for a safe place to rejoin. Let's have a look at what actually happens a little bit earlier on. So this is... Oh, sorry, on you go, Jake.
Yeah, so this is Robin de Vos, and he's going to find out very quickly that this is not a place you want to be sliding in. He's just too aggressive as he tips in, and effectively he collects a bystander there. I think that's Kenny that he may have just collected in that incident, and that's going to cost him 1 place. But you've got these drivers on the ragged edge. It's so much of a case of, at turn 5, it's the toughest place on the circuit.
Obviously no surprise here, as you've got a 3-way battle for 4th, 5th and 6th position here, and someone is going to have to give up the ghost here as Gardner ends up taking that 5th position here. You get a feeling that Robillard wants to get that back very, very quickly indeed. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to do that, as whoa, that's a huge moment for your race leader coming into 6th. Can he get that car slowed down in time? Almost, as he's got that number 27 just on his inside line there. We're back to the fight for 4th and 5th position, so it's all change here. And exactly what I was away to say there is, you know, a lot of the races that we tend to commentate on is beautiful move up the inside from Canton. That's turn 6 there. gets that position from Robillard. Not taking any further part in this, but Mark Wright is, oh my god, that's a car off into the grass in the backside there. That is going to be the 18, that is Mark Johnson.
Yeah, so Brown is in from third position, so that will pretty much confirm him as third. No way there, Tom D's trying to pick a pocket, but unfortunately, Mr. Twist, you can't have too much more as he tries to find a way to get that move sorted. Just about salvaged, but look at this exit run here from D. He'll open it up. Oh, he shuts the door on him. Tried to absolutely shut it. You're a bit too slow there, Mr. Robillard. D to the inside. I think he can get it. Slow down on the brakes. He's got the place, and he will do at Canada Corner.
Mroczek in the toe. It's not going to be enough. It's going to be a race win for Genisus Simoncic here, as Mroczek in second place there, and Devin Brown going to come back across in third position. But my goodness me, unbelievable stuff there. Incredible action there from round two, but these are the standings for the pro class just now. You can see Genisus Simoncic there in the lead just now, Devin Brown in second place, with Gary Kantonen in third, David Mroczek in fourth position, Tom D in fifth, Nicholas Kirsten in sixth position, Matt Wright, Jackson Robillard in 7th and 8th position respectively, and it's a tie for 9th, Austin Birchfield along with Rhys Gardner, but it is still way too early in the championship to even think about calling it. And how about Nico, if you want to take us through the AM standing?
Yeah, AM standings are looking quite interesting as well. We've got Nikolai Bavenbeck for Rally International in first place with 35 points, then right behind him is his teammate Chris Gordon. Right after that, the winner of round 1, Mike Mallon, with a very unlucky round 2 result. After that, Steve Carman, another Ralliant driver. Then Mifanoui Fleur with the Fish Motorsport car in 5th. Then Igor Polyakov in 6th place. John D for JKD Racing in 7th, together with Mark Johnson. And in 9th again, so 2 joint points positions here. For 7th and in 9th, Paul Stasovs and Filippo Marazzi.
Excellent stuff. Well, listen, Nico, firstly, hello. How the hell are you? It's been a hot minute since we spoke last time. Obviously, at Elkhart Lake, we had Jake Sperry joining us in the commentary box. But delighted to have you alongside me, because you know this is a big love project that you're heavily involved with.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely fantastic to be talking to you again as well. It has been indeed a hot minute. Normally I'd be driving, but in the past couple of weeks just got overwhelmed with work and everything. So I thought it would be a little bit wiser to keep the car in the garage this evening. And yeah, instead I join you here. You know, the one thing that I do almost as how do you say it, lovingly, as driving is commentating.
Passion.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
exactly, and you're so good at it. You're so good at it. And Nico, possibly the grid might be a little bit safer tonight with you on the mic rather than being out there on track. Let's go to the grid then, and have a quick look at how we have got things set up just now. So here's the starting order for round 3 then. Genisus Simoncic, possibly not surprised there, on pole position, and alongside him on row 1, Martin Beyer, Nicholas Kirsten in 3rd position, with Tom D in 4th position. Let's rattle through these. 5th position, Riley Waynes. You've got Matt Wright in 6th, Dan Andrews in 7th, Ross McGregor, great to see him out there, in 8th position. 9th position is going to be Austin Birchfield, Franek Godrecki in 10th position. On row 6 is going to be Erwin Bergier alongside Robin DeVos. 13th position then, row 7 is going to be David Bacha Celadon alongside 14th place of Ricardo Mendez. 15th position for Nikolai Bavenbeck, and then 16th position for Mike Mallon. 17th position is going to be Mark Johnson alongside Declan Brush in 18th. 19th is going to be Mifanoui Fleur, and then Gerard Ryan in 20th position on row 10. 21st position for Jonathan D alongside David Purchase. Bruno Chacon in 23rd alongside Filippo Marazzi in 24th position as well. That is row 11 and row 12. Row 13 is going to be Mike Honcho at the back of the field in the Eras team number 46 car, 25th position. Look at that coal trickle livery. Days of Thunder, eat your heart out. I absolutely adore that car. Now, one of the things that I love about this championship here, Nico, as we head to the grid for this rolling start here on the back straight of the circuit here, is the fact that these cars are just so absolutely wild and difficult to control here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, we took a very diverse set of circuits, you know, a couple of them that aren't gone anymore, that aren't here anymore. Long since had to make space for other infrastructure or other hobby projects. I mean, I also reflected that a little bit in the racing names. So, for example, our season opener at Riverside International Raceway, which had to be destroyed for the Moreno Valley Mall, it was called the 70 Laps of Moreno Valley Mall. And you know, Bridgehampton later on this year will be the Golf Club 225 because the track has nowadays been transformed into a golf track, or a golf club. And as much as it is, you know, a little bit sad to see, it's I think a very nice and sarcastic, a macabre touch to it.
And that's exactly it. I think the North American sports car circuit, the entire field that you've got out there of tracks and history that steeps this culture is just so awesome here. I mean, obviously with Mont-Tremblant, 2.6 miles here, it's not exactly a cookie cutter track here, but it is in terms of what you can expect from a North American racing circuit here. Lots of high speed straights, especially coming over the hump and just after the S's, but a lot of tight, twisty technical sections. We'll have plenty of time to chat about that as the cars lining up in that double file formation as we get ready to go green here. We're through into Namro very shortly, and then it'll be into Paddock Bend as well. But you can see there, we get going and we are live then. And there we go. Perhaps again, no surprises there to see Genisus Simoncic out there in front, but he goes wide. That allows contact already. And Simoncic, your race leader from your race winner from round number 2 there, Nico, in immediate contact there. And again, just showing how difficult these cars are to control.
Absolutely fantastic save there from both Martin Bayer and Genisus Simoncic there. Absolutely insane that both of them actually kept it from going around completely, as we now have Tom D going for a move for position 3 actually against Nicholas Kirsten. So great to see a lot of racing here after this only half a formation lap. But yeah, just absolutely great to see him now going to turn 1 the first time.
Yep, certainly is. We saw that Tom D going side by side with Nicholas Kirsten there. Tom D briefly gets the edge there, absolutely power sliding that American muscle right around the inside coming up.
A little bit. Then in the front, it's all still clear. A couple of the drivers actually pushing very hard already. I saw some cones flying in the turn 1 as well on the inside, but that's just casualties of war, so to say.
It certainly is. It's there you go. Fight still for the lead then as Martin Bayer up the inside. Simoncic trying to take that position back. You've got D up there as well. This is crazy stuff here, and tiny little bits of contact here, Nico, but incredible respect from the drivers.
Yeah, these guys absolutely know what they're doing. They're no strangers to historic cars, especially Martin Bayer, who's actually quite engaged with the automation community. He actually holds historic events in that area, so people build cars for historic events with a given rule set and all that stuff, which is also just insane fun. You know, everyone's just involved in historic racing in different ways, which is just always great to see.
And with the gluts of GT3, GT4 sports car racing just now, this historic sports car racing championship has been a breath of fresh air, and it's safe to say the drivers absolutely loving it right now. Genisus Simoncic then down to 3rd position as we start lap 3, but my eyes are on D right now. I think he's got the charging pace right now, Nico, to make a move on Martin Bayer for potentially the lead here.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of a lockup there as he's going into the S's. But yeah, Tom D, an absolutely fantastic young guy. In his early 20s, I mistook him for 16 earlier. I have no idea still how I got that. That's why he now has the joking name, the oldest 16-year-old in England. But yeah, a fantastic, consistent driver. He's taking part with his dad, actually. So JTD Racing, John and Tom D Racing.
Do you know, I've seen it a couple of times, not just in HSRC, but in other championships as well. And I love that. I really wish like my dad had been in the sim race, and it's such a lovely thing to see that families can kind of get together and make new family arguments over sim racing here. But we're on lap 3 out of 58 here, so we're already rapidly getting through laps here. Now, what we can tell from round 2 here, Nico, and from previous rounds, is that it's all very well being fast here, but you have to manage the tyres here. These tyres have been turning into bubblegum at a very, very quick rate here, and you just have to be so careful with that tyre management.
Yeah, I think at this track it's honestly the worst it's been so far, because Riverside we had a lot of, high-speed situations, but also a lot of straights for the tires to cool back down. The same thing goes for Road America. And here, now at Mont-Tremblant, it's just no end to corners. It's constantly a high G corner. They either over crests or the cars are constantly being forced to the outside of the track just purely by their own weight. These cars are, of course, not just, very, very light little monopostos. These are not 700, 800 kilos. These things weigh around 1,500 to 1,600 kilos in general. So there's a lot of forces dragging this car to the outside every single time.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that what we're seeing here as well is, the pack starting to get into a rhythm, starting to smooth themselves down. But every single lap is a challenge here. Every single lap they're having to push as much as they can. We're watching Ross McGregor here from Rapper Racing Club. Obviously, huge news for them this week, because Ross, part of that traction team that kind of dissolved late last year, and then getting taken over by Rapper Racing Club this week. So a huge boon to the sim racing community. Great to see them back out there as well. He loves, just like John as well, John McGregor, just loves, John Monroe, loves getting out there, getting involved with the races as well. And it's just something so different. I said it a couple of times through the previous broadcast as well here, Nico, but it's something that we don't really focus on too much, is how fun these races can be.
Yeah, and it's just absolutely crazy. For me, it's one of the biggest points that I take pride in, honestly, because these races, they are a niche in a niche, because sim racing, coming to esports, most people think League of Legends, Overwatch, Counter-Strike or anything. So sim racing, when the pandemic hits, it was small, but it got bigger. But in the end, we are still very much a niche community. And then historic is a niche within a niche. And to see all these, big drivers, in quotation marks coming here, Devin Browner, of course, a quite good friend of mine since karting days, over 10 years ago now. He's obviously a great supporter, also a developer from RF2, so I'm happy to have him along. But also, professional drivers, so Yanni Simoncic, Ross McGregor, I raced Ross in my high time in esports a couple of years ago when I was a Honda Works driver. And to see him here as well and hopefully enjoying himself, it's basically a dream come true, because I just want to approach every kind of the community here, like every single person. The old ones, the young ones, just everyone, fast, slow. I try to find a way to get everyone to race here.
And obviously, with you taking part in the championship, it gives us really an unprecedented look into what it's like competing in this event and this championship as well. As we're seeing Tom D really pushing Martin Beyer right now, but crucially again, doesn't look like he's attacking too much. He's having a look here and there, but maybe just applying pressure and trying to take that slipstream from the car in front here. From your point of view, Nico, from your experience with this championship as well, what are some of the things that our viewers should be watching out for, and what are some of the pitfalls for these drivers here?
You can very quickly underestimate how much the tires lose grip when they are worn. So I think we're definitely going to be looking at tire changes here for this race. We're definitely looking at a refuel as well, since this is a far longer race distance than they did actually in the original Trans Am series. So these guys will also be looking into fuel management, tire management and everything while they are still battling. Of course, Tom D is also applying a lot of pressure, an absolutely rapid driver. I've raced against him in 50s cars, 60s cars, 70s cars, and in every single thing, he just gets behind the wheel and he's fast. As we have a car off in the background, I think.
No, that's Austin Birchfield, yeah. In the 31, it looks like he's just lost it on his own. That's not going to be the only time we see that here tonight. Just a little bit too much speed into the corner there, off onto the grass, and that is going to be all that she wrote in that one. However, with the field spread being so wide as it is on lap 6 out of 58 here, again, it'll be fairly simple for that car to try and make a couple of positions back, especially later on as we get some pit stops here. For you as well, Circuit Mont-Tremblant, is that a track that you particularly like here? For me, it's obviously my first time actually visiting here, and it feels like it shares a lot of DNA with a lot of other, North American racing circuits here. So, I think of the likes of potentially Watkins Glen here, and is that a problem actually for Godrecki there? A lot of smoke coming out of the car there and that 105 on the back stretch there, but a weird place to be trailing the brakes if that was the case.
And these cars can be very, very easy to lock up. So it's not the last smoke trail that we've seen over this entire race. But yeah, we're going to see a quick replay what happened to Austin Birchfield in a second as well. And I think maybe just went a bit too wide. I think just went a bit too wide. Like, you go over this crest here, the car just gets dragged to the outside, and then, immediately, it's a wide curve, but, there's only so much a wide curve can do. At some point, the grass comes, and these cars just do not take the grass that kindly at all. So it's a really easy mistake to make, really frustrating for Austin, of course. He's a guy who's in this with all of his heart, and, always great to see him going fast as well. But in these situations, you push hard, and then this is one of these classic tracks, one of these proper fantastic tracks where if you push just a bit too hard, there's not a tarmac runoff or anything, there's just grass, and then there's a wall.
As we just saw there from Tom D, on the absolute limit of adhesion there, as we've got another yellow flag coming out there. I'll be honest with you, I think that gravel trap actually saved Birchfield a big embarrassment there, because it took a lot of the momentum out of that accident there. So that could have been a lot worse, as we're still watching this battle for the top three. Now, curiously as well, Kirsten coming back into it. You've got right in there is Austin Birchfield trying to pick his way back through the field here. Now, once he gets that 16th position, it's going to be a difficult ask, because he's now 4 seconds behind. But there you go. That's, I believe, who's that on the outside there? That's the number 18 car. Again, it makes it look so easy, but it really isn't, because the weight of these cars is their biggest downfall.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is also just a testament to these guys really just knowing their stuff. Not just going down the inside, but also keeping it around the outside for that time. The Fun with Fleur, Welsh woman driving here, actually. Quite a long time in historic racing as well. And actually at Road America, I had a point where I was coming up to lap her, and for a couple of laps I literally just went, wait, is this an am? Why am I not closing that much? So actually no, that is not the Ferry Fleur, that's number 18. I just mistook that. Yeah, that's Mark Johnson. Sorry, the wrong Fish Motorsport car.
That's fine. That's the least of my worries tonight, I can absolutely assure you, Nico. As Mike Mallon in a big fight here with Bavenbeck just behind him in the number 66 there. Great position taken for Mike Mallon here. And again, we're already coming up to nearly lap 10 of the race here at Circuit Mont-Tremblant. It really is just a real taste of drivers' wit and ability here. But obviously, these tyres are going to go off quite quickly. I'm trying to remember back to Lake Earnhardt, how long the tyres lasted. I don't think we got long out of them at all. I think it was like about 15 or 20 laps, if I remember rightly. That might be very, very generous here. But again, back to this fight for the lead here. I honestly think we're going to get a 6-7 car fight here, Nico, within a couple of laps here, because I think Martin Beyer doing a grand job of managing the car, managing the tyres, and managing the expectations there as we cut into the right-hander there already.
actually a bit of contact. Oh my goodness me!
Another
and he's
little
just
bit of
sending
contact.
it. But this is the
Absolutely
spirit of
wild.
Trans Am. This is the spirit of Trans Am. Absolutely fantastic to see these guys going 110%. And also, what I quickly want to note here, with a lot of times, with modern BOP, a lot of sandbagging going on, and then there's a car dominant for one round, there's a car dominant for another round. Right now, in the top 5, we have 4 different car manufacturers.
And that's what makes it amazing, is the fact that there's almost no meta here like you see in like, say, iRacing or Assetto Corsa Competizione, where it's you have to take this car or you're just not going to be competitive. This is, for me, this is like the exact reason that sports car racing is so entertaining. This is the whole back to the heyday, Nico, of race it on Sunday, win it on Sunday, and sell it on Monday. This is exactly what these sports car championships were made to, was to showcase the flagship models and really help the sales of these cars here, which is why there was so much marketing investment into these championships as well here. And it's just awesome that we get to replicate a little bit of that. And to be fair, these drivers, these 7 drivers at the front here, are doing an amazing job of not only replicating and reliving that sort of lifestyle here, but reliving that ethos of racing, that hard but firm but fun, fair racing.
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. Like as I said, I love these guys going at it like this, I honestly was already quite happy when we held the first event last year, the first Targa Sicilia, which, if I remember correctly, was also commentated on by you.
Yes, it was. 6 hours. I'm solo for that one.
But yeah, for that event, when I had Yannis sign up, we had Oscar Kantonen sign up, who would be racing here nowadays as well normally. I was really happy that we had such a diverse grid of drivers. A lot of guys that not only, we have like the this will sound just bad, like not just the gentlemen or the like sort of silver or middle class drivers, but also the top of the line guys that can just get something out of the car that you as a spectator don't see that often. Where you can properly feel the car being alive. It's sliding, it's locking up, it's just moving around everywhere. Like in these old highlights reels, it's almost like a promotional video, as you said, from race it on Sunday and sell it on Monday.
That is, why it's been such a successful model. It's the same with touring cars all across the world now, and this was essentially the birth of touring car racing. This is where the DNA all started here, from the North American racing. And again, from this as well, there's so much that branched off of this. NASCAR, for instance, started as bootlegging races. So we've got a lot to thank North America for its contribution to the worldwide racing scene, the worldwide racing culture that we know and love today. And obviously, a lot of the circuits have been kept updated and revamped here. So, for instance, the end of the season here, Nico, we go to Sonoma, one of my favourite racetracks here, and just it just makes you feel like you're in like a 1950s, 1960s movie reliving these days.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing. Like obviously the track side things, they have gotten developed obviously for safety and everything, but the track itself is still basically the same. That's hot take. That is why I personally still quite like Monaco. Like a lot of people really do not like the circuit. They say it makes for bad racing, but I think mainly it's too big cars. But the track itself is just very, very fun.
Sorry, I fell asleep at the sound of Monaco there. Do you know what? To be fair though, right? F1 at Monaco, absolutely not. However, classic sports car racing, oh god, yes, that's where it's at. Formula E, that would give it a go. But again, the cars are so bulky. I don't know if you'd get away with that. It's
they did actually have quite a lot of overtakes. So.
Again, seeing that car there, that's the same car that we saw with the huge puffs of smoke there. I'm not sure if that's a visual glitch in the game there, but again, just maybe it could be to do the setup, maybe riding a little bit low on the corners and bottoming out. Of course, we're on R Factor 2, as the championship has been. One of the most realistic in terms of mechanical emulation here, as we cut to a banger of a fight right now. This is the number 9 and number 49 here of Andrews and Wright fighting for that 6th position. We did just see the move going through here for Davin Andrews, and I mean, that 49 car behind, that's a proper Dukes of Hazzard paint scheme. Is my God, somehow Wright avoided absolutely killing himself there.
Yeah, you can absolutely say that he did everything right in that situation. But yeah, Matt also just an absolutely rapid driver. Started racing him, I think, 2 years ago now, and every single time he's been on track with us, absolutely phenomenal driver. One of the guys actually coming from Australia, so that's also another point I'm quite proud of for HRSC. We have drivers from America, from Australia. If he didn't have to withdraw his entry in the Targa Sicilia, we would have had a Japanese driver on the field as well.
I love the fact that we've also got just in the background there Erwin Bourgeois, who is in the 42. He's in the Plymouth Barracuda, but the livery on that looks like something that would be more appropriate on the Pontiac Firebird. It reminds me a lot of Smokey and the Bandit there. And again, something that we always touch on here is that the liveries on the cars are very kind of age appropriate, really, for the era and for the championship as well. And that just adds to it as well, because you didn't have your fancy 3D modelling back then. It was all done in incredibly talented, incredibly esteemed paint shops where they could do these incredible works of art, only for them to get it bent in half.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it makes your heart burn a little bit seeing one of those cars destroyed, but yeah, just also seeing, just in general, all the engineering behind it from a couple of those pictures, basically just seeing like all the tube frames and all that stuff. It's always just absolutely insane. Picking up on the paint scheme, dear God, that was a lot of sliding from Erwin Bergier back there. Erwin is actually a guest driver for this race. He said before the season started, I'm sorry, with real-life commitments I can't make this entire season, but I'd love to do a couple of guest starts. That's why we actually have 2 different number 42s in this race. Erwin is racing with a default livery that actually raced in real life, while the other number 42 is actually raced by John D full season in the M class. I think we lost David. Oh, for a little bit. Oh, are you here?
I am here. Like I said, it's been held together by sticky tape and hopes and dreams tonight, unfortunately. This is what happens, Nico, you see, when you visit South Africa, is that, it just all goes... Yeah, it's... I'm going to leave that one there, because our broadcast producer is also from South Africa, and he also has the more important mute button. So that might be why you can't. We'll just blame Daniel tonight, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, pretty much, I wouldn't be surprised if you told us that you're sending us your communication in Morse code, basically. But our broadcast director, Daniel Costello, I think he has a bit more of an appropriate internet connection, obviously, to be showing all of this here on the channel. Yeah,
I just find anyway. Yeah, I just find any way I can to make Daniel's life a misery, and that's exactly what we're doing tonight. But we're loving the action that we've got going on. This is a fight for 3rd position. Martin Beyer and Nicholas Kirsten absolutely sending it toe to toe, and that is going to be a position gained, or kept rather, for Martin Beyer. It was trying to throw it round the inside there for Nicholas Kirsten. No room at the end, but have a look at the fight behind as well. McGregor and Andrews, they're also wanting to put their shoes into this as well. As that was so close for Nicholas Kirsten, and oh my God, Nico,
just almost tandem drifting, absolutely phenomenal. And this is one of these points again, where you can see the different strengths of the cars. The Firebirds here that the Rafa Racing boys are using absolutely fantastic car in the corners, but on the straights, it's nothing compared to a Mustang or let's say one of the Corvettes. There's just always these different strengths and weaknesses that the drivers have to fight with, and that's what makes this really, really fun as well, because there will be tracks here, of course, in this season where certain cars are better than others. And yeah, like Ross McGregor also, quick comment here, he jumped in basically last minute for Alpha Racing Club. Normally this car would be crewed by Jesper Pedersen. It also got guest started last year, well, not last year, last round. It almost feels like a year ago because of the big break that we had, by David Mrocek. Also, of course, like a long-standing teammate of Jani Simoncic. But Ross McGregor coming in here last minute, and as I understood with quite little practice as well. But seemingly he's found his footing now and really, really feeling at home here, which doesn't surprise me one bit, knowing him. So now actually having advanced up to P4 already. Really, really good going from him. And actually making chase on Martin Bayer, who, if I recall correctly, also having his first start of the season, simply because he was delayed his debut for this series by a few unfortunate real-life events happening. You know, date clash is always very difficult. But we also have a fight for the lead just a little bit further up with the other Rapper car, with Jani Simoncic now making chase on the Corvette of Mr. Tom D. I think we have a little bit of connection issues still here. I think David lost a little bit of his Morse coding. Yeah, legend, how would you say it? Morse code alphabet, that's the thing. Yeah, over the crest once again for the second to last corner. Going on board now with Jani Simoncic, and God, you can just see that insanely long hood. We're going to listen to the 5-liter V8 for just a little bit of time. You guys can actually enjoy the true quality of this. And as we come to the end of lap 16, big action there. And this is exactly what I was referring to just a little bit earlier. These cars will eat through the tires here especially quickly, and just you can see another big lockup here as well from Jani Simoncic trying to get closer to Tom D. But both of them must be slowly starting to struggle for tires now. Both of them obviously pushing it on the edge, trying to stay ahead of each other, or well, trying to get ahead of each other. Not just in position, of course, but also just in this entire strategy game. And oh, that's a bit deep of Tom D. Very bit deep, and now he's actually made it very easy for Jani Simoncic to counter. Now Jani down the inside into the hairpin. Is Tom going to try and do an over and under, but he can't quite get it to stick. and also thinks a bit differently there, I think. Actually, he's just holding back a little bit and probably trying to get the slipstream here now instead. What a fight. Simoncic a little bit weak at the start, I think. You know, had to maybe find his footing a little bit. But of course, he's one of these guys that can just save tires for days, while also saving fuel for days, while still going an absolutely astonishing pace. And, you know, Tom and Martin definitely looking for a good fight here. Meanwhile, we also have Mr. Ross McGregor, the stand-in teammate here, now making a chase for Martin Bayer. Both of them actually now having caught up to the top two. And now almost making it a four-way fight here. And my goodness, wouldn't that be something spectacular to see around this glorious circuit? Once again, just getting so close on the approach to the S's. And that's a bit deep from Yanni. Once again, just leaving the door a bit open, but not quite so much that he would actually lose too much of it. So he just can always find this way to just stay barely ahead. And of course, for Tom in the back, it must be absolutely frustrating. Meanwhile, Ross is just trying to pressure Martin Bayer as much as possible. Number 917 chasing down the 24. Firebird versus Cuda. Well, the full name Barracuda. So a fight among two animals here. We actually have another bit of two wide action now. Tom D having gotten the nose now down the inside at the exit of the hairpin. Now on the straight, and you can see that Camaro stretching its legs as they're now coming into the hard braking zone for that right-left sweep here. Just before they go back uphill and underneath the bridge, but Simoncic right on his tail, not giving Tom D a single inch, not even a single thousandth of a second to relax. And Martin Bayer and Ross McGregor are here now as well. Now it's a four-way fight. These guys will now have to look at the offensive and the defensive all the time. There's not a single moment that they can actually rely on. The only thing that Yanni can rely on is basically his teammate, who of course isn't right in a position to help him yet. So there's always this little back and forth and back and forth. Now the question is, when will they come in for the first couple of laps? 40 laps remaining now. Depending on when they come in, we'll see if it's going to be a one-stop or two-stop. And of course, whether maybe a one-stop or two-stop would be advantageous compared to the other strategy. In these situations here, Tom D, one of the guys that actually profited quite a bit. Most people changed tires only once at Road America. Tom D went for a second tire change, and all of a sudden, gaining seconds a lap on his opponents, including myself. And that was one of those classic moments when I had to say that I had severely miscalculated everything. So Tom D quite aware already of what strategies he has to play. Maybe we can see also, you know, if it would maybe be faster if you just come in, of course, once, then just switch tires instead of refueling if you can make it on that distance. There's so many different cards they can play here, and it's absolutely astonishing already, just thinking about it. Meanwhile, we have this four-way back closing up again. My goodness me. Yeah, they're just barely too far away to make a move, but once again, Simoncic closes so much on the brakes through that left-hander as they make their way to the penultimate corner once again. Over a smaller crest here, down the bend, and now over the big corner, over the big crest into a very slow corner, hard on the brakes. Very, very difficult, of course, for the drivers as well. You go up on the crest, you gain a lot of grip. As soon as you go over the crest, all of the weight basically just gets catapulted upwards. The tires lose the grip, so that's where you can see lockups quite frequently there. You now have these guys going through turn one again, and look at that slip angle as well, going pretty much a little bit sideways there with a big lockup from Martin Bayer here in P3. Ross McGregor all over his back, but if these guys don't watch out, Nicholas Kirsten and Matt Wright will be right on their back as well. Something happened to Darren Andrews. I think he's headed to the pit lane first. So one of the first guys to actually go. So this will probably be a two-stop strategy. basically on the perfect third of the race marker. Having gotten out now, and going through turn 1 down in 16th place behind Mark Johnson. Now obviously having to make his way through the lead of the AM class again. And oh my goodness me, there's a lot of traffic there. A couple of cars off the track now rejoining. And obviously Andrew's having to avoid Nikolai Bavenbeck there, the AM championship leader, who just had a very, very unfortunate turn of events. And oh my goodness. This traffic, fast cars, fast corners, everything is just completely going upside down, even though we're not in Australia. Yeah, we've got Andrews making his way back up the order. Obviously very, very desperate to get back to fighting with other pro drivers. Right on the tail of Mike Mellon there, one of the championship challengers, currently in 3rd place after a disastrous race at Road America, which ended in a DNF, but luckily for him, after the 50% marker of the race, so he was still able to score some points. But Andrews, of course, he will not be wanting to fight with AM drivers, but right now, of course, overall track position, this is still basically a position for a fight for position. And meanwhile, Mellon, now he's realizing, I have nothing to gain from this. He's just going to keep pushing. I'm just not going to be able to keep up with his pace. Now just switches it up, slows down a little bit, and now there's Mark Johnson on the outside. Pushing hard. Mustang versus Mustang. Which horse will pull stronger? It's like watching the Kentucky Derby all over again. Meanwhile, Bavenbeck and also Austin Birchfield, another recovering pro driver, wanting to make his way up a little bit further back. But we can see here a lot of fluctuations. These guys obviously pushing hard. And a couple of these guys, of course, have their own favorite sections of this track. How you get along with the handling of your car the best. How you can get the car to be placed in the perfect position for the entry and exit. And a couple of these guys, of course, it's obviously also a thing of your car. So, and oh my goodness me, and that is Mike Mellon just completely misjudging the braking there. I feel like that was a little bit of passive commentator's curse, so Mike, I am incredibly sorry there. But he's got going again. Back to the front though. Tom D was able to get a bit of a gap again to the rest of the grid. But now also coming up on lap traffic as they enter the SS once again. And Martin Bayer once again hard on the brakes. Hard on the brakes. We have another pit stop already there. That is David Bakker-Celadon. Actually the only Pro-Class Dodge Charger on the grid. And now we have, once again, the top 4 just running through the section of corners through the right-hander just before this hairpin next here. And there's another smoke trail up ahead. So these guys will also be alert now. These guys will not just look out, how can I place my car the best? And, oh my goodness me, with a lot of sliding there into the corner. And now, as opposed to that, Yannis Simoncic comes with a lot of sliding out of the corner, taps the grass, throws up some smoke. And now they're coming up towards the end of the back straight where this race started not even that long ago, and we're already a third into the race. Or even more than a third, actually. But now, this is the big thing here now, traffic management. These guys, of course, have to make sure that they are the ones making the pass safely. While the AM drivers, the guys getting lapped in general, they have to, of course, hold back. They have to make sure that they enable a safe pass. They don't have to fully slow down like it is usual in Formula 1. And my goodness me! With the help of traffic there, Martin Bayer flying down the inside, over the crest, through the penultimate corner, now on the outside for the last corner. Not quite able to put the power down like Yannis Simoncic, going 3 wide once again through just past Bruno Chacon. And my goodness, that was an absolutely fantastic move. An absolutely fantastic show we're getting shown here. And that is a big lockup by Yannis Simoncic almost tagging the back of D, but able to keep it out of the other car. My goodness, I'm almost at a loss for words here. This is robbing my words from me like a stick up in an alleyway. And that's not just because I'm a German trying to speak English. I think... Yeah, we're having... What is that? I think that's... Yeah, we're now looking at Aaron Bougier. I think that must have been with a pit stop as well already.
Yeah, sorry.
Behind Austin Birchfield. So the guest driver, and these guys, of course, they know racing each other very well already. Last year in the historic sim organization, they were racing in the Gold Star Championship in 1950s cars, so they've been around each other quite a lot. Also were teammates in the Mercedes 300 SL before, so they know each other's strengths and weaknesses quite a bit. And of course, Austin on the defense will have to anticipate where's Aaron going to try and launch a move. One like that is going to be a feint, and Austin just with a strong lockup there. Obviously not wanting to completely kill his tires, but also not wanting to give up track position. He took long enough to get back up here after that unfortunate mistake out of turn 1. But you can bet your sweet Lippy that he will try to stay ahead. And very, very big slide from both of them, almost tandem drifting there. Fantastic running from them both. And my goodness, that is a late move down the inside, just underneath the bridge, and Bougier goes past. Absolutely fantastic move there.
Nico, I could hug you. I could honestly hug you. That was a wild, wild time. Thank you so much for covering.
All good, man. It's all good. As I said, I'm glad that you got your Morse code alphabet back.
Yeah, that was just a very quick bit of silence there while I muted myself on the other PC. My goodness me, honestly, if you'd seen me for the past 5 minutes here, Nico, I've just been flailing about like you know when a small child gets their favourite toy taken away from them. That's kind of how I've been reacting. It's been quite impressive here. So yeah, thankfully though, you did an amazing job at holding the fort. So much so that I'm very tempted to just go and take the rest of the night off here. But I'm not gonna spoil it like that. I'm not gonna leave you to all this action. I mean, can you believe
we've got great action here?
Exactly. Can you believe we're almost at the halfway point here, lap 24 out of 58 here, and it is just relentless. I mean, we've still got this 4-car fight for the lead. Fair enough that Nicholas Karsten has kind of dropped off here, but you've got D, Simoncic, Bayer and McGregor in here. But McGregor has been a slow burner here, as that's off into the pit lane goes D.
Yeah, and you know, I think Ross went in with almost minimal practice. Also, very quickly, if the spectators were wondering here, it's the 1970s. Of course, the track is in its modern configuration here, but we're still using 1970s rules. We don't have a pit speed limit. We can't injure pit crew anywhere. So these guys are literally just blasting it down the pit straight, and pretty much with their own responsibility, whether they cause a crash or not. Of course, if they cause a collision with another car like that, that will be a more severe penalty. But these guys are experienced enough. I don't think that sort of mistake will happen here.
Yeah, but nobody told me that previous to our broadcast at Elkhart Lake, so you can imagine my shock at seeing cars doing 140 down pit lane. It was amazing.
Especially in Road America.
Yeah, because of course you've got a very, very long pit straight as well, so they were just flying into it. As we're seeing still a fight for the lead, though. Janusz Simoncic ahead of Martin Bayer. And to be fair, Simoncic has been a bit of a slow burner, but as I said, Ross McGregor in that third position, he just looks so smooth and steady, and definitely a danger to keep an eye out for here, Nico.
Absolutely. Ross is one of the guys, you know, you can never really count out. Not just, you know, a great author for Traction.gg that's now been reborn, but also, you know, very, very experienced sim racer, been in SRO esports, of course, and also, you know, coming in here with comparatively minimal preparation. So really, really cool to see him, you know, visually getting used to the car, and then, you know, slowly making his way up the order end. Oh. Big splashing once again.
Simoncic.
These tires are at their end, man. These tires are absolutely at their end.
And the thing is, we were speaking about Ross just jumping into the championship here, and you of all people, Nico, know how difficult that is to do. I mean, you can't just have a bit of fun in these cars here and still be competitive. You can surely go out there and have a blast and, you know, be in the mid-pack somewhere. But the fact is, Ross is, and this is what really annoys me about him in a real sort of jealousy way, is that it's so bloody annoying. He just turns his hand to anything, and he's really good at it. And I'm just like, it really annoys me so much.
Yeah, he's similar to Devin Brown in that sort of way. I mean, they also used to be teammates for a couple of races for SRO Esports. You know, Devin will basically spam me like in the middle of the night, like if I'm already sleeping or if I'm still awake, you know. Just this moment of, you know, why have you chosen this car? This is awful. I can't drive this. This is absolutely uncompetitive. We might as well be walking. This is awful. And 2 hours later, he'll just come with, yeah, okay, I made a setup that goes 2 seconds faster than before. We're good now.
Oh, again, just it's that alien nature, and it's the one thing I love about sim racing as well here, Nico, is the fact that for me, I think it's teaching a generation, a brand new generation about you know, competitive race car engineering as well. And fair enough, you know, there's only a limited degree into which the sim can replicate real life, but the understanding of the fundamentals of what the changes do, that sticks, and that is, you know, you've got people reading telemetry data and reading sector times and inputs and all this sort of stuff, whereas before it was literally pick up a control and play now, and now we're at such an nth degree of like tenths of a second separating hundreds of cars here.
Yeah, it's just absolutely insane, honestly. Not just for driving coaching software. I used to work as a driver coach last year with Project One Motorsport for the BMW M2 car. So, you know, it can't fully translate to being in the car itself, obviously. But getting that track knowledge, getting that routine in with hitting your braking points, you know, hitting the racing line, knowing the right line, you know, and knowing how to get in consistency. It's just such an advancement as well. You know, sim racing can really provide you an absolutely fantastic advantage here compared to back in the day, because if you look at it, for example, with a BMW M2 or something, a full test day, the longer that goes on, you know, you're looking at over 10,000 euros for one day. And alternatively, you can just spend that much, or honestly far less, on a simulator and do multiple test days, hundreds of test days on the sim, meanwhile in preparation for the races, for just that, for that one-time cost instead of, you know, so many other things.
That's absolutely spot on as well. The value for money that you get is just unparalleled as well. And for me, is that you can turn to anything. You know, one day you could be racing HRSC and firing about these 50s and 60s absolute monster muscle cars, and then the next you could be doing some single seater racing or doing top end GT3 racing as well. It's the variety, I think, is the sim racing spice of life, and that's exactly what we see here. I mean, I've always got a bit of a soft spot for historic racing because it's just such a different beast altogether, because you've got none of the mod cons that you get in you know, modern day sports car racing. Any of the traction control, as Frank Goodrecki showcasing that 120 mile an hour pit entry line there.
Yeah, it's, you know, always just so interesting, in my opinion, to see these overall just comparisons, how these cars, like, compared to back in the day, actually are handling overall. And it's really a fascinating thing overall, I think, you know, just trying to get together with all of this. And honestly, you know, I've started diving into modding myself, you know, with the sports car mod that we're using, the 1967 one and also the 1954 one for an upcoming series that I am just hereby casually teasing, by the way. There's so much data that you have to look up to make a car proper, and, you know, you're basically just constantly going from one website to another, from one book to another, from a couple of video recordings you might find, because there's barely any data, like actual data recording. So there's just so much disparity between, you know, the info you need and the one you want, and so you have to just always try and keep stuff in mind, what feels natural, what would be natural, what sort of new data you can just randomly find. Like, for example,
talking about...
Yeah?
Sorry, Nico, I was just about to say, now talking about data, one of the things you mentioned there was that you do driver coaching, and I'm always fascinated by that because that seems to be a real sort of burgeoning thing, a blossoming new thing here. And so racing is, that's my beloved Days of Thunder full trickle car being sent into the tin opener. That is not great. But yeah, the driver coaching is something that I'm seeing a lot of sim racing drivers actually start to take up and realise the value in that. What is involved in that basically is what I'm trying to ask here, and what does a typical session look like?
Well, we have just overall, some base data already, and actually, I don't want to talk about that right now. I will get to it back to it later. But if I saw that correctly, that is Ross McGregor actually just barely jumping the two Chevrolets here in the pit lane. I mean, Darren Andrews came into the pits quite a bit earlier, so he had newer tires at the point. So he managed to jump Tom D, but Tom D obviously, he stretched as long as he could, but not quite able to get the same sort of mileage as Ross McGregor. And I think now Ross McGregor and probably Yannis Simoncic as well, with another car there that's actually Tom getting past his dad as well. They're basically having this duel now, a two-stop strategy versus a one-stop strategy.
I'm trying to figure out, that was the 42 of Erwin Bourgeois there, trying to turn in on D and Andrews there. But the thing is that D is the faster driver at the moment. We saw that as soon as the little light popped up saying fastest lap went to D, 144.2. So that's obviously that fresh rubber, but I'm not sure as that is the biggest power slide you've ever seen in your life. My God almighty, that car is absolutely trying to hold on to everything that they possibly can. And the thing is with Andrews right now, Darren Andrews really sending it. But what we've already spoken about here, Nico, is these tyres turn to bubblegum so quickly. And do you want to be absolutely pounding these tyres on the first couple of laps out of the pits, or do you want to maybe try and hold just 5 laps or so at a moderate pace and just ease them in gently?
Yeah, you want to try and get a bit of pace on the outlap already, because you have to get a certain temperature to get them properly working as well. And actually, just speaking of getting the tires working there with another glorious power slide, Ross McGregor actually managed to jump his teammate through the pit stops as well.
Yeah, that's going to be an awkward post-team debrief on that one. McGregor, again, just so cool, calm and collected there. As you're seeing D in the background, Tom D as well, trying to get past a lap car that is the number 11 that he's trying to get past there just now. But again, it's just absolutely wild. This is why I love these historic races so much here, because essentially, Nico, these cars are absolutely wild beasts here. Very difficult to control and always on the edge. And again, I would imagine for yourself, Nico, as a driver, you'd leave every single race here grinning from ear to ear because of how much fun they are.
I mean, as much as I love driving them as well, it just fills my heart with joy to see these guys also pushing it on the limit, because this is also just, a couple of guys having fun. Of course, we're here to race, we're here to have competition, and I absolutely love that we're able to broadcast this, thanks to Genisus Extreme, our fantastic broadcast partners for this, to make this possible, of course. But, being able to host this sort of friendly but also competitive league here, and having this, proper driving spirit as well, it's just absolutely fantastic in my opinion, and I wouldn't give it up for anything else.
Absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree with you, and the way that this race is unfolding is absolutely fascinating. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is round 3 of the HRSC Championship. We are here at Circuit Mont-Tremblant. As big action there. Tom D sent it up the inside there, trying to catch on to the back of Simoncic and McGregor there. But if you have just joined us, it is essentially going to be Genisus Simoncic who will be in the lead of this race when the pit stops are said and done. We've reached the halfway point of this third round, but it is indeed Martin Beyer that is in the lead. But he still, according to my record, still has to pit there, but he will be in contention there. But again, Simoncic then really having done everything he needs to do, and more importantly there, Nico, also team orders, I think, a little bit of team agreement between Simoncic and McGregor, with the two of them swapping positions. Tom D firmly on the back end there, but I would imagine Ross McGregor being a tail gunner for his teammate. So it's Simoncic, McGregor, D is your top three just now, as we're into the final 27 laps of this race, with almost everyone having done their pit stop.
Yeah, if I actually see it correctly, I think Martin might have been in the pit lane already on lap 28, because that lap was essentially 28 seconds shorter. The interesting thing now is if he can make that fuel tank last to the end, and I think he might have, well, quite honestly, I think he might have just completely skipped the tire swap just to gain on-track position, and right now it seems to be working, I'd say, since he has 3 seconds clear of Yannis Simoncic and Ross McGregor.
And that's the thing, is if he's done that and he's able to keep the lap times doing, wow, that is mega wide there, as Tom D trying to avoid that car in the background there. That is a lapped car as well. But again, like you say, if he can hold on to these tyres till the end, he's still doing 1:44.9s. That was his last lap there, so that is still massively competitive. Now, again, I'm going off the information on the live timing here, but it would make sense because he was around about this top group here. Remember, in the first the first 10 laps here, he was right with that group of 4 cars, so it would make sense if he's already pitted just now. But I get, for how long will he be in front? Because Simoncic, we know, is a driver that has got the pace and has got the skill to very quickly close that down. But there also comes the point where enough damage is done that it might be kind of all over. I don't think that is the case. I think it's literally Beyer is, if he hasn't taken tyres, is going to have to nurse them to the end here. But he will get at least another 5-10 laps out of them. Yeah,
that is absolutely true. And I think the one thing that I want to say here, though, with the pace differences here, Martin is doing 44.9s, he's still in the 44s. But besides Tom D's, stunning laps right after his pit stop, the 44.3, 44.200 now that he recently did, all these guys were in the high 44.4s or in the low to mid 44.5s. So you have all these drivers, 10, 12 drivers at the front, that basically running at, like their fastest lap is within 0.2 of a second. Now, the thing that it really comes down to now is consistency and how they can just carry their car through that entire race distance to keep that pace up.
And that consistency is what we're seeing here, with the fact that gap is actually starting to go up a little bit to Genisus Simoncic to about 3.1 to 3.2 seconds. It will fluctuate as the timing goes over the different parts of the lap as well here. But Martin Beyer in a real strong position here. And obviously we're seeing McGregor dropping back. Now, we know for a fact that's not the true pace of that 917 car, that Pontiac Firebird. But again, with Tom D being such a threat in that Chevy Camaro in the 41, in that 4th position, I would imagine Simoncic is wanting McGregor to keep him absolutely at base so he can focus on catching Martin Beyer, possibly even trying to push him back in towards this fight with Nicholas Kirsten, Dan Andrews and Matt Wright, which coincidentally has been absolutely raging on right now as we're watching Dan Andrews in that number 9 car. So 5th, 6th and 7th just now, and there's absolutely nothing to split between them. And there is Tom D just ahead of Nicholas Kirsten now.
Yeah, and he just barely managed to pass him out of the pit lane. I think the big question here now will be if Tom can actually make his second stint last the rest of the race distance, if he can actually save enough fuel maybe, because Kirsten went quite a few laps longer than D, and even much longer than Darren Andrews, and Andrews is sitting right down his neck right now. He's probably thinking, hey, I'm on a different race, but I still want a piece of this action.
With that in mind, then, that dilemma where he wants to push and still wants to keep his foot in the game is, dear God almighty, Tom D. Dukes of Hazzard style. I was in the middle of a train of thought there. Just launch that car over the curbs. He's a braver man than me, Nico, because, I mean, these cars are uncontrollable and unpredictable at the best of times. But when you absolutely send it over the curbs, I mean, you're taking your life in your hands here.
Yeah, 100%. And this guy, he loved racing. You know, it's actually a great little bit of trivia as well. I mentioned the data gathering and stuff as well earlier for the modding and everything, right? And yeah, a couple of times I was searching for data, for example. So Tom is very much like a faster driver than his dad. But then when I'm gathering data, I'm missing data, and I'm going, damn, where can I find this? And Tom basically just, metaphorically taps me on the shoulder and goes, hold on, I'll call my dad and his library. And like 20 minutes later, I have the data I need.
That's incredible, though, that you've got that resource to call on to be able to make these mods as true to life and as true to form as they possibly can. Because when you've got all that data, that's essentially what you've got to go on. The bit that I want to talk about is that Nicholas Kirsten in just an absolute charge right now in 5th position. But what I really want to talk about is Martin Beyer setting a personal best on Sector 1 on very, very disgusting, very, 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 very old tyres on that car, and he's just done almost a personal best right there, 144.988. So he has still got it out there, but that gap has come down very slightly to 2.5 seconds. In fact, what has happened there? It's now down to 2 point. Again, it's the R factor to timing. It kind of goes up and down as they reach different parts of the circuit there. But I mean, that's essentially 0.7 of a second gone from that gap now.
Yeah, and that's a really difficult thing here as well. These guys are obviously pushing on the edge, and we're also having Mark Johnson actually leading. That's another surprise leader. So not just Martin Beyer gained a surprise lead through a very late pit stop. Also, Mark Johnson, I think, was down in like 4th, 5th, 6th place. So with the others all fighting, meanwhile, was basically going either for a long run or basically went a bit shorter or just a little bit offset to the others. He was able to just keep his calm, keep his rhythm and everything, and now he's 20 seconds clear of 2nd place in AM. Absolutely astonishing.
Not only that, Nico, not only has he got the 20 seconds, but he's also got the pro driver of Austin Birchfield in between him and Nikolai Babenbeck here. So it's a 2-for-1 in that one. So he'll be very, very happy indeed. And as we said, no difference in the machinery between the pro and the AM. It's literally just a driver ranking to allow, a nice championship battle wherever you are, and newer drivers to the championship have got the ability to do that. As up the inside goes Ricardo Mendes for that 3rd position. Again, that's not for position there because he's 20 seconds behind Nikolai Babenbeck. But Nicholas Kirsten, we said there, Nico, he was pushing hard, and I think he's just pushed a little bit too hard there. He gets going on again. 144.268 was that last time by, but that car is absolutely banjaxed.
I think just a slight miscommunication there. I'm not quite sure what happened there. It looked like Fleur basically came over a little bit. Let's have a look here.
Have a look. Oh no, contact. Oh no.
Oh man, that's just unfortunate. That's one of these situations where, you're trying to get everything right. You're trying your best to leave enough space. But of course, at this point, Kirsten just ran out of road. And the same thing for, Henry Fleur, just probably misjudged the gap a little bit. Maybe it looked a little bit like she had a steering issue there, because there were a couple of bursts where the car just went a bit more straight than normal. And she DNFs. Kirsten is obviously trying to repair the damage to maybe still get some points from finishing, counting on DNFs of others.
It's a hard one for sure. So that is a retirement then for the number 52 Dodge Challenger of Mfanwe Fleur. Unfortunately, I think we're also going to lose Nicholas Kirsten because there's very little chance of getting any way back with just 22 laps left to go in this race. So again, a pretty horrible end to the race for both of those two. So while this goes, we've got Bayer in the lead of the race there. You've then got Jana Simoncic in second position, Ross McGregor in third position. That's another wild moment there for Bayer. Now this has changed completely because while we were watching that accident there, we've now got a 3-car fight for the lead because say hello to a non-existent gap. Remember that gap that was 3 seconds? Yeah, well that's kind of gone now. It's now just 1/10 of a second. And we are going to have an absolute dogfight, a proper 60s dogfight in these American muscle beasts right now. Ross McGregor getting past that lapped car just now. As we've also lost Bourgeois from who was in 5th position. So that number 42 of Bourgeois dropping down, gets going again. I think that might have just been running across the grass there, although there could be significant damage there. That is a car off in the background. That's Andrews, I think that was there, as I'm not sure what that was in the cockpit of Dan Andrews right now, but he's still on track fighting down. And there is indeed a car off in the background there, so that'll be very briefly bringing out yellow flags there. But that's in 29. Mike Mallon, that car, I think has seen better days. Either that or maybe he's just chilling, maybe he's retuning his radio. What was it they had back in it? It would have been like an 8-track in those cars. Nico, I'm trying to think. Obviously, these cars are a little bit before the time of having a CD player or playing MP3s in them. Possibly a little bit of 8-track, maybe an AM radio.
Probably some AM radios. Probably maybe a cassette player if they were lucky. And I do think, if I did see that correctly, the number 29 that we just saw stopped might have just blown his engine coming out of the S's.
Ooh.
And that would be a terrible blow to Mike Mallon's AM title aspirations. And as we have another crash here.
Oh no, that's Austin Birchfield. So that is the 12th place. The 12th place pro car, and that was Mark Johnson. Looks like those two getting tangled up with each other. Remember, they're not actually fighting on the. That's a difficult one. So that is obviously your AM leader that gets caught up in that. I'm hoping that I just misread that situation there, but that was a very, very awkward moment there because obviously Birchfield's in the pro class and Johnson in AM. Let's have a look at the replay and figure out what exactly happened there with the two of them. So you can see Austin Birchfield gets a hell of a run here onto Mark Johnson here. I'm hoping it's not late on the brakes. It is late on the brakes. Sent it up the inside. The two of them, I thought the two of them avoided each other. There was absolutely no intent there from Birchfield. He would have locked up the brakes, trying to get that thing slowed down. For me, obviously limited field of view for Johnson as well, but you can see a car going off. I'd be very, very wary in that situation there, Nico.
Yeah, I think he just got caught out a little bit. I think Austin got caught out probably by Johnson's a little bit earlier braking. So, really, really difficult to judge, of course. And in these situations, you're catching a car, you're catching up to them. You're right there, you want to set up a move. And all of a sudden, it's not looking so rosy anymore. And there's, this avoiding maneuver. He, of course, fully locking the brakes. And then, of course, on the grass, can't slow down as well there. And just really, really unfortunate.
So it looks like Dan Andrews into pit lane as Austin Birchfield struggling to get that car slowed down. And again, the other thing with that as well, Nico, is that moments like that will add even more pressure, even more stress onto these already stressed tyres, and possibly adding flat spots there. But we were on about that engine blow as well. It's one of those things that RF2 is pretty much the only game that or only simulator rather, that will simulate that part of it, the mechanical fatigue here. And again, back in the day, these things weren't reliable. These were absolute junkers in terms of reliability. And it's another fascinating little jigsaw piece that gets added to the championship.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I mean, you bring up the flat spots, that's why I love calling RF2 my favorite simulator for racing and also for having a jackhammer, because you lock up these cars one too many times or very, very hard time, and, well, you're basically just having a very, very good impression. I'm basically right above the living room in my house. So whenever I have a big lockup and then try to keep going at full speed, my parents basically think the killdozer is above their room.
I think the thing with R Factor 2 as well is that I spent many years of my life railing against it because I'm a VR racer, and it's not the easiest to use until recently I figured out exactly how to do it, and it's been flawless every time. But there's so much to do in terms of setup. As I'm just seeing that Simoncic has completely fallen off the back of Martin Beyer into to Ross McGregor. So the three of them all getting kind of backed off here. I wonder if maybe tyres are an issue here. But with the fact that R Factor 2 is one of the most diverse and the level of simulation is completely unmatched for R Factor 2. That also means that it's very complicated and very complex to set up. So it can feel like, in all honesty, Nico, that having a good race in R Factor 2 is you've got to make sure the stars are aligned and the moon is full and that it's the 27th sun rising, and it's this once in a blue moon event. But like say when it does hook up and you do get it working, it gives you a sense of joy and immersion and fun and just you're actually driving a race car instead of playing a sim or playing a game. And when it does work out, my God, it's absolutely unmatched.
And what you're describing there is exactly why I founded HRSC, because I know what this sim can be like, when it's running at 100%, when you're feeling 100%. And I know it's absolutely a B to set up 100% as well. However, when you get it working, I think there's pretty much no comparison nowadays, except for maybe, R Factor Pro, but that's not publicly accessible. And I think the only project that is currently being developed is basically in the same area, is actually, funnily enough, being developed by R Factor 2's old CEO, Marcel Offermans, as his project The Last Garage. So if you guys are interested in all this physics sort of stuff, he's building a complete new physics engine with native support for 3- and 6-wheelers as well. And you can already see the writing on the wall there. I'd love to have that as well for a future thing, maybe for not just HRSC, but just in general, have maybe a new historic sim soon.
Well, I've got my own wild theories on that one, and we'll wear our tinfoil hats and delve down the rabbit hole on that one, because obviously R Factor 2 part of Motorsport Games, right, and they've had a very, very checkered history. There's no doubt about that. However, and I've made no secret of railing against them in the past. However, under their new leadership, right, they are just ticking all the boxes right now. Obviously, Le Mans Ultimate getting done. They've sold off all the licenses. They're lightening the load. There was too much that they were having to focus on, and it was just distracting them. They couldn't make a single good product, and now they're selling off all the licenses. NASCAR's gone, IndyCar's gone. I think, and again, this is just a theory, I think they'll sell the R Factor 2 license back and then just license it, because that would make much more sense to them financially, doing it that way. And then that way they've done it so that they're saving a lot of money, and then the creative control gets relinquished, and then we possibly might have the spiritual successor to R Factor 2 that we so badly want and deserve.
I mean, definitely. There was some, sketchy stuff in the back, way back then, of course, with the old CEO. But I do agree, overall, Motorsport Games has been making absolutely fantastic strides under leadership of Stephen Hood now. Also, I had the pleasure of, doing some testing in, some of the sessions with him. He's a sim racer himself. He doesn't just want to make a good sim, like what it was with the old CEO, with, we make a sim for profit. No, this guy wants a sim because he loves sim racing. And, that's exactly what we needed, not just for R Factor 2, for Motorsport Games. That's what we need in the industry, in my opinion.
And it's weird because, obviously it's great fun to give it a good kick in while it's down, but Stephen actually does seem like a genuinely nice, friendly guy. Certainly from the conversations I've had with him on Twitter. Very, very personable and always happy to basically answer any questions or comments. So, like in the past, whenever I've been slightly facetious, me being facetious, never, slightly facetious about some of the way that it works, and he's like, yeah, that's absolutely right. That's part of the thing that we're trying to change here. And it's like, okay. So it's great to see all the advances, and let's not forget as well, they made some incredible progress through the past sort of 5 years with our Factor 2. It's been out for the best part of 12 years now, or 10 years or whatever. And it's only the past couple of years that we've seen these huge strides in terms of the projects that they took on, the IndyCar project, the BTCC project as well. That's all come to R Factor 2. As I said, it would basically be R Factor reskins, R Factor based mods for the game that were packaged up. We've seen that for Le Mans Ultimate. But they've actually done it right in that case. They've been able to make that work here. We've got a little fight for the lead here, right? We'll can that discussion just now, because this is starting to get a little bit fighty here. Now, how long do we think Martin Beyer can hold off here? Not just from Janusz Simicic, but also Ross McGregor here.
I think what he's mainly doing right now is he doesn't have to defend, for his life, basically. He just has to defend hard enough for his teammate Matt Wright. And, not quite Nicholas Kirsten, since, he did suffer that crash earlier on. But, of course, he's still there. He wants to unlap himself if possible. He doesn't want to hold back for the, position and everything. So, at the moment, we have a team versus team battle, actually. So, absolutely great to see. And just a very quick thing, I don't think we talked about this before on this stream here. Of course, we have a teams championship as well. The teams here can be from 2 up to 4 cars big. And the teams championship not only puts itself together from the 2 best positions of that team in a race, it also can basically mean if you have 1 car in Pro, 1 car in Am, and let's say you get very, very lucky. Let's say, for example, JTD Racing. Tom D gets the race of his life and John D gets the race of his life. Both of them win. They get a full 40 points for the championship here. And quite honestly, in the last 2 rounds, especially in the rounds at Road America, Rally International has done an absolutely stellar job there, because they managed to get 35 out of 40 points. And traffic once again here as well.
Absolutely threading the eye of a needle is both Martin Beyer and Janusz Simicic here. And yeah, just talking about that team's championship, obviously Rally International with the 4 drivers that they've got in that team, I actually think we might see a little change for the lead here, because obviously with Simicic and McGregor for Rapper Racing Club being in 2nd and 3rd position as well, you've got Voss and who else do we have in the Rally International team? Bavenbeck, Nikolai Bavenbeck. So they're a little bit out of the order just now, outside that 8th and 9th position here. So with Bavenbeck though, obviously in that AM Championship as well, that's a different perspective to things. But either way, I think this is the sort of performance that Rafa Racing Club needs. They need this consistency. They need this performance to really bolster more points. Right now, this is unbelievable pressure that's been applied to Martin Beyer here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Cuda crew, they had 2 not so great showings so far. And as it would stand right now, so basically if they finish the race, the next time they cross the line and the positions don't change, P1 and P4 would be an absolute insane boost in their championship standings. So, it's a lot of pressure, not just for Rafa Racing Club trying to reclaim the lead of the championship, trying to claim it for the first time. It's also just a lot of pressure right now for Martin Beyer and Matt Wright. Their teammate Reece Gardner is absent, but of course they want to push on the absolute limit, maybe even get a 1-2.
And just as we speak about the performance of Rally International, that is Nikolai Bavenbeck on the right-hand side there, that number 66 car. having a bit of a moment with the Pontiac Firebird there. Gets it going again though, but yeesh, not the best. However, we stay back with this lead 4 battle right now. 13 laps to go here in round 3 of the HRSC Championship. And this is starting to get very, very intense indeed. You can see Matt Wright just slipping away a little bit, possibly traffic getting in the way here. Nico, the way that they slide these cars in, it's so predictable, and yet we both know from how these cars handle, predictable is not a word you would use to these cars' characteristics.
It is a really great thing because, what's basically Devin and I found out is like the Camaro handles best when you drive it as neutral and calm and clean as possible. However, try to do that when you're pushing at max. You're constantly fighting oversteer, transitioning to understeer, transitioning to oversteer again, for giggles. And, you're basically just on the razor's edge every single time you go into and out of a corner. So it's just really constantly a dance with death, not just with yourself, with your car, but also against the other drivers.
The thing with that as well, Nico, is that you were saying about smooth is fast, and that is absolute. Honestly, we were talking about the 46 there, the Cold Trickle Days of Thunder car. It does remind me of the line that's said on that. It's smooth is fast, fast is on the edge of out of control. And it's absolutely the case here. But the problem with these cars is Genisus Simicic gets a run, but it's going to be the inside line for Martin Beyer. There's no way he's going to try and drive right round the outside. He did try, but unfortunately that's not going to work, as Martin Beyer is going to keep that in. But look at the run here. Oh my God, the two of them have taken each other out. That is absolutely monumental as Martin Beyer keeps it in there. That was an unneeded bit of contact there. Neither of them wanted to give any quarter there, and I think the two of them have kind of got their just desserts here, and I get the feeling that is a very broken car for Martin Beyer right now. Very, very unnecessary contact, and to be honest, I don't think either of them wanted that contact either.
Yeah, I think that was a misjudgment in space, It's really, really easy to do that in these cars because you can see, for example, in the Cuda, but even more so in the Firebird, that incredibly long hood to cover that 5-liter V8. You just very, very quickly misjudge how long your car actually is. And I think here, I didn't quite anticipate that he was, already starting to touch Martin. Martin, of course, trying to rotate the car and just got dragged into the wall there. Really, really unfortunate for him.
Yeah, that is a horrible way to end your race. And I've got a feeling that Martin Beyer in the pit lane, that car we might not be seeing again. As Genisus Simicic there, trying to hold it around the outside. So we're watching the replay here. We're on board. A little bit of contact, a little bit of bumping. See, to be fair to Genisus Simicic, he didn't really have any room. He didn't have anywhere to go there. And I think it was literally just Martin Beyer on the acceleration. That car, as you'll know yourself, Nico, it understeers like crazy on acceleration there. And to be fair, I mean, I think at most that was a recent incident. But to be fair to Genisus, there wasn't really anything he could have done there other than braking, which I don't think he had any need to do.
And that's the thing, it was a big misjudgment there. Racing incident, but I could see Martin trying to report that, and obviously we'd have to look at that then. In the end, it's really, really difficult because he didn't quite have pretty much, he barely had any overlap. Pretty much the rules that we go by here is, you are entitled to space if you have a significant overlap. What is that? That is basically if your front axle is past the rear axle, like same level or further ahead than the rear axle of the car you're trying to pass. And in this situation, that was just not quite there. So I think Yanni was just literally desperately trying to not to lose any kind of time at all, but then just slightly got caught with the edge of Martin's car and just catapulted both of them into the wall. Really, really tragic to see.
Yeah, that is really disappointing. Robbed us of what was a fantastic end to this race, but it still might be, because that man that I told you not to sleep on right now, Ross McGregor, out in front by just half a second over Matt Wright. We could still have a proper little barnstormer, because now the club rivalry that was sparking off there between Jernej Simonjic and between Martin Beyer might be rekindled here with McGregor and Wright with just 10 laps left to go here. Here we go. It is absolutely on. Matt Wright out for vengeance, out for blood. And that might be overselling it a little bit here. But either way, this is got all the characteristics, all the hallmarks of an amazing finish to this race here. And apart from that, apart from the unfortunate moments here, again, another fantastic display of driving here from everyone at HRSC, and I think they can kind of again hold their heads very, very high at the driving standards here.
Yeah, I absolutely say so as well. We have overall these incidents, of course, it's racing incidents when there's like slight misjudgments there, but we don't have that many of them. I also saw basically a little bit of a chat now with Henry Fleur after retiring. Already apologized to Nicholas Kirsten and basically citing that the mirror was not showing it correctly. And she had no idea that there was actually that much overlap between the cars, as we now have the attack of Australia. Cuda Crew attacking Rapper Racing Club, and Matt Wright. Lots of oversteer at the final corner. Not quite able to keep it alongside, but he's definitely letting Ross McGregor know that he is in fact there and he's not there to share.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We saw McGregor going very, very deep into the corner there, and that is another moment for Nikolai Bavenbeck in the background there, the 66 car, struggling really in these final 15 laps of the race. That's the second yellow flag that we've seen him bring out in the past 5 laps here. But Matt Wright pouncing on that opportunity from Ross McGregor. McGregor just very, very late onto the brakes into the final corner, power sliding out of that corner, as this is your AM class leader right now for Fish Motorsport, Mark Johnson. And again, having, he did have Birchfield in between that as well. But again, that AM class leads, big points here, and kind of an uncontested run for Mark Johnson right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was definitely, the rivalry from Bavenbeck for a while, but, these are these things, pace alone doesn't win the race, consistency does. And even if Mark's fastest lap is a little bit slower than Nikolai's, for example, he just has the consistency down. Even after that collision with Austin Birchfield, still kept just nailing away those laps, just keeping it completely calm and everything. And he's going to be the guy laughing at this rate, who obviously will win the Billionaire's gamble for the AM class.
Just looking at the Drivers' Championship for AM as well, I believe this is going to put Nikolai Bavenbeck onto 50 points, with the 15 points he'll score for taking second place. That's also going to be a healthy jump for Mark Johnson, who will actually jump up into around about top 5 anyway, with the 30 points that he'll have after the end of this race, if it ends as it is. So again, as we've seen so often during championships, but more so this one race can absolutely turn the tide of a poor run or a poor start to the season, and literally that's all you need. As we're watching David Purchase here for Sprightly Tortoise in the number 7 car, he's chasing down Mendes, who is just ahead of that 46 car. That is the lap car there, just in the background of Honcho. Again, just trying to race their own races. Nicholas Kirsten back out in that number 3, currently trying to set fastest laps right now, and I guess in 21st position, that's kind of all you've got left to do.
In the end, all you can do is, I always quoted that famous FU Baltimore car at their Baltimore home of challenge. But it's basically that with the fastest laps, I think, but most important thing is, he's still going, he's still going to be able to finish the race, and I think he's still going to be quite happy with that, especially with, a little bit of a display of the pace that he could show over the weekend. So, of course, unfortunate, but I think still he's going to be happy with at least this badge of honor for the lap time.
Now, talking about teams here, actually, I've just realised, do we think that there's a little bit of strategy going on here with about 8 laps left to go? Ross McGregor possibly trying to slow down Matt Wright into the pace of Genisus Simoncic right now, try to make that car as wide as he possibly can. That's late into the corner there from Matt Wright. Again, a very deceiving camera angle, though, because he's absolutely got that car pinned as much as he needs to coming into the final stage of the race here. He's going to have to get along a move on in that Kura Crew number 49 machine, because Genisus Simoncic is not going to be playing games. He will be absolutely sending it to try and get back into second place, and I would imagine if that is the case, if Simoncic gets back into second place here, Nico, we've seen it once before where Ross McGregor simply just hands that position back.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Yanni, in the end, he's the guy that's fighting for the Pro Championship, so I can't really blame them. You know, it's obviously all strategy. But at the same time, you know, Yanni has a damaged car. He's quite a ways back. So Ross, of course, like, it's not just a thing of, you know, championship strategy here. It's also a thing of, hey, I'm fighting an absolutely rapid Australian right now. And maybe it's a little bit better for me if he also has to watch his rearview mirror. As it stands right now, Matt Wright absolutely does have nothing to look out for behind him, and he can just focus all of himself onto the attack against Ross McGregor.
And that's exactly what we're seeing unfold here in the final couple of laps of the race here. Round 3 of a fascinating HRSC championship, coming to a close here, and we're just about 7 laps away now from finding how this is going to unfold. We've got some more lap traffic just in the background. You can see trying to stay out of the way as well, but still trying to remain competitive and trying to do their own race. I thought was going to get involved there, but again just moves out of the way. The gap now to Simoncic, just a second and a half here, I think, getting caught out behind that lap car here. But again, with McGregor and Matt Wright, both of them taking those pit stops here and taking tyres as well. We saw them making early stages into their new runs here, but I would never have predicted that. I would have thought maybe Tom D would have been a little further up here as Genisus Simoncic does actually get past that lap car, but hasn't actually lost all that much time, as McGregor and Wright still going toe-to-toe, coming through that long right-hander. And again, Simoncic, I think, is desperate now. Desperate to get those points, desperate to get that run here. You can see booting it out the corner. The car starts to become leery. It starts to become very, very wild on oversteer and understeer at both the same time, which is something really you can only find in these American muscle cars.
Absolutely, just a completely own brand. I mean, this is also the origin for all these fantastic muscle car rivalries. You know, Ford Mustang versus Corvette versus Dodge Challenger, or Dodge Charger as well, and, well, Plymouth Cuda, which I'm still really annoyed that there's no modern version of this fantastic car, or the Firebird as well. We really need one of those. But one thing I just noticed, back to the race at hand, Matt Wright on the back straight is not quite going for slipstream at the moment. Instead, he's pulling outside of the slipstream on the long straights and driving sort of staggered compared to Ross McGregor. I think he's trying to cool the engine so he can do one last big attack pretty much at the end of the race, which I think is his best shot of getting past.
Sorry, I was just about to just say there, we saw a yellow flag and a car off in the background. I think that might have been Jonathan D in 42 Chevy Camaro. He was down in 22nd position, and the fact that Mike Honcho has gone past him and he looks to be standing still on the track. Yep. Oh my God! I actually get something right. That I'm taking that. That's my claim to fame right there, ladies and gentlemen. It's only taken 53 laps of the race, 58 lap race. I don't care. I'm still taking it. So Jonathan D again really struggling with that car. Here we go as Erwin Bourgeois is still fighting toe to toe with Andrews right now. The 9, the 42, giving it big licks as Bourgeois tries to send up the inside. This could be disaster, and it's almost contact. I think there was actually contact there, but the two of them managed to sort themselves out here. And I'll tell you what, that number 9 of Darren Andrews is just a force to be reckoned with right now. But I think it has their work cut out, because Erwin Bourgeois really, really knows how to handle that car, that beautiful Plymouth Barracuda 42.
And the fun part about this is, there's no points advantage or anything to this. This is literally just those two guys racing. They're just having a blast. Erwan is a guest driver. He doesn't filter into the points for the pro standings. Darren doesn't risk losing any points. It's all just ego, it's racing, it's just having fun. And that's just fantastic to see.
5 laps left to go, and how do you fancy a 3-car fight for the lead, ladies and gentlemen? Well, that is what is on your plate. Ross McGregor, Matt Wright and Genisus Simoncic all duking it out for the top owners just now. Matt Wright in a Rapper Racing Club sandwich, and while that is a very tasty and attractive sandwich, it's not a sandwich that I really would like to be part of right now, and I'm pretty sure that Matt Wright doesn't want that Plymouth Barracuda being sandwiched in between those two Pontiac Firebirds. But as we said, 5 laps left to go, and Simoncic is leaving nothing to chance, leaving nothing to the imagination right now. Look at how much he's throwing that car around. It is so leery right now, but my attention is on Ross McGregor now, because he's done his job. He's backed that car up as much as he possibly can, and now he needs to get a move on. Now he needs to push, because I think that he knows that he's got slightly more pace than a very damaged Genisus Simoncic right now. But again, he knows Matt Wright has a lot of pace, so he wants to feed Wright to Simoncic and then streak off with this, with just a couple of laps left to go here, Nico.
The difficult thing right now is, of course, we could expect a report against Simoncic for that accident with Martin Bayer. So Ross McGregor now has to basically try and do an absolute work of art here of slowing down Matt Wright, not losing the position to it while trying to let Simoncic go past. It's a really, really difficult tightrope act that he has to pull off here, because if both of them go past McGregor, then, that's all fair and good, but if Simoncic then ends up getting a penalty, then he might have, inadvertently lost Rafa the win there. So Ross McGregor now has to basically weigh his options, how he's going to tackle this next, if he just tries to go for himself now as he builds a little bit of a gap, or, if he tries to play the team game further. And my goodness, Matt Wright on the absolute edge of grip there. Would you look at that power slide on the outside curve?
And we saw that in the last lap as well from Genisus Simoncic as well, and you're like, how much do you want to dance with the devil? How much do you want to dice with death? And that's exactly what these cars are doing, and that's exactly what these cars have to do at this late stage of the race, because you have to give it all. You have to leave nothing on the table, and that's exactly what Matt Wright and Genisus Simoncic are doing. Also want to draw your attention to a fantastic battle still going on here for 5th position. Riley Wyans and Tom D duking it out just now. It's the number 5 Ford Mustang against the Chevy Camaro number 41 just now, and this has been raging on for a couple of laps now, but it's getting closer and closer and closer. And like the fight for the top 3, you get the feeling that something has to give right now. And this is pretty much the last battles that we've got on track right now.
Yeah, 100%. And my goodness me, so we're basically going to have to watch out for the finish for the top 3, and then immediately switch over to 5th, 6th, and 7th place pretty much. But not quite 7th. Robin DeVos is, quite comfy spot, 12 seconds ahead, and 12 seconds behind and 7 seconds ahead of P8. But look at that, Matt Wright now.
Oh, McGregor's gone. McGregor's gone from the lead. He's out. He obviously went onto the grass there. Is about 3 seconds behind there, so we'll get a replay ASAP. But Matt Wright now in the pound seats, he's done all the work. I did say that McGregor was pushing that car as much as he could, and maybe the pressure from Matt Wright was just a little bit too much here. And Genisus Simoncic now has the best chance of a race win. I think a very unlikely chance of a race win for him, given what happened to him 10 laps ago here. He must be rubbing his eyes with disbelief. And Ross McGregor, I'm absolutely devastated as we go to a replay here. This is your HRSC replay of what happened with Ross McGregor going through the right-hander. This is the one that we've seen time and time again, just drivers flirting with danger. This is where I said, how much do you want to see it? And that is a big moment. But thankfully, in the grand scheme of things, just bruised ego for Ross McGregor. He no damage to the car whatsoever, and can get straight back out. Now, this is going to be interesting here, because you can see here, with Matt Wright up in front. He's got a lapped car just in front of him that is going to have to get out of the way very, very quickly indeed. And with just 2 laps left to go in this race, my goodness me, it still feels far, far too close to call right now.
Absolutely astonishing. That corner is just one of these things that can just catch you out. You can do it right 50 times, and then the 51st time you get a little bit too far outside. You could see earlier on an onboard that we had, when you go up this hill, it's completely blind, and then it just goes down and dips down. Simoncic late as he can on the brakes, almost ending Matt right there, and losing a lot of time there because he had to go wide, of course.
Wild stuff here as there we go, round the inside goes Genisus Simoncic, and we are on to the penultimate lap of the race here as Matt Wright up into the inside. And Nico, your thoughts on this race then? I mean, for me, this has been another absolute classic as we go back to the fight for 5th and 6th position here. This has been an absolute poster for the HRSC.
Honestly, I hope it motivates people more to join this, A couple of friends of mine, are also going, no, I like modern cars more. And of course, I get that, everyone has their own preferences, but I hope that when they see, racing like this, they might just give us a shot and, just enter the historic realm as well. So we see a fantastic race between both Tom D and Riley Wines, and of course, Genisus Simoncic still hasn't given up against Matt Wright.
Yeah, this is going to go all the way down to the wire here. You can see Simoncic with that slightly crippled machine. It's definitely down on its ultimate race pace from earlier on here, but you would never have guessed from the way that Genisus is driving that car. What a talent behind the wheel, but what a talent for Matt Wright as well to soak up all of that pressure that's been applied to him right now. Again, look at the power slide that's going through. I'll tell you what, Simoncic has actually got the run right now. He's onto the back of Matt Wright. That gap just 1/10 of a second as Wright has to go to the defensive outside line here. The two of them absolutely going toe-to-toe here as we're going to come across the line to start the final lap of the race here. And this is scintillating action here for the third round of the HRSC Championship here from Circuit Mont. It's just been absolutely fantastic here at Circuit Mont-Tremblant. What we've been watching here has almost left me lost for words. As a slide up the inside there from Genisus Simoncic and a big wobbly noise from Nico in the background there. How the hell did he keep that going here? This is just insane action, Nico.
Oh no!
Contact for the second time.
Oh no!
No way, McGregor's going to win this. No way.
Oh my goodness me, that was not how I expected this to end at all.
Oh, I lost for words. Matt Wright just ushering that crippled car back home. Ross McGregor in the lead right now. I got a feeling that he might just hand this over to Genisus Simoncic here. Was that over? Again, we didn't really see many angles on that. Again, we really should see a replay of that when we can. But oh man, for the second time, denied a fantastic battle, and for the second time that we've had Simoncic involved in that, and the stewards are going to have a very busy post-race section here. No way. I thought that was Ross McGregor. I got so confused here. I honestly thought that was a race leader that just binned it absolutely unforeseen there. But I think that was Gidrecki actually in the 105 that's went and spun it there. But there we go. Ross McGregor out the final couple of corners here. It's been a fantastic effort and a well-deserved victory here for Ross McGregor, who crosses the line to take the win. Genisus Simoncic in second position. It's then Matt Wright who will usher that car back home. 8 seconds to the poorer on Genisus Simoncic, but he will get third place and crucially some big points for the championships. Then it's going to be Riley Lyons who will just hold on as Tom D absolutely sends it. Nico, I mean, how big are the smiles on their faces right now?
Red line over the finish line. You have to absolutely adore it. It's absolutely fantastic. But you can absolutely just see and hear the smiles on them. So,
Oh my goodness me. I mean, where do we even begin with that race? I think it was less chaotic than Elkhart Lake, but it was much more dramatic, if that makes sense. It was, there was less cars getting sent left, right, and centre here, but the action and chaos that we did get was profound, because it was all of the people that right up at the cutting edge.
I'd absolutely agree, and in the end, like even in the AM race, we thought that Mark Johnson had it basically wrapped up, but Bavenbeck managed to actually claw back that gap, actually managed to pass, and saving the team standings a little bit for Rally International, and Robin DeVos also improving to 6th place. It's gonna stay very, very harsh here. Meanwhile, Mark Johnson gonna be enjoying a 15-point boost probably.
Yeah, I think he certainly will. Let's have a look at the race results then and clarify exactly what has happened here at the Pro Championship. So let's have a look at the Pro drivers when we get a chance to see them up here. But Ross McGregor taking the win ahead of Janusz Simoncic there by just a couple of tenths of a second there. Matt Wright finishing 10 seconds behind in the Cuda Crew machine, 3rd position. Final step of the podium, Riley Wyans fought off Tom Day in that brave fight there for 4th and 5th position. Robin DeVos, the first of the Rally International drivers in the 6th place car. And Dan Andrews in 7th, Erwin Bourgeois in 8th, David Bacca-Celadon had a very quiet race left to his own devices in 9th position. Austin Birchfield tried to send it and lost out down in 11th position. Martin Beyer in 12th, David Purchase in 13th position, Nicholas Kirsten in 14th position, Declan Brush in 15th, and Gerard Ryan in 16th position. That's how the Pro drivers lines up. Let's go and check out our AM class drivers, and Nico, I think you can take us through the AM class.
Yeah, and we have got Nikolai Bavenbeck, last race's winner, in 1st place. Then Mark Johnson with a sensational 2nd place, the season's best so far. Ricardo Mendes with his 1st race of the season here, 3rd place. You'll be very happy with that. Runa Chacon coming back after a 1-race ban after an incident in Riverside, actually making it to P4. Filippo Marazzi making it to P5. Jonathan D to P6. Mike Honcho, just barely DNFing towards the end of the race, but getting P7. Mike Mallon, of course, blowing his engine very tragically in P8. And Mefan Fleur, of course, very, very sadly with that misjudgment through the rearview mirror with a crash out just after the halfway mark in P9.
And there we go. That is a race to forget, I think, for those bottom 4 in the AM class as well. But again, I think now for them, their attention will start to turn with just a couple of weeks to go until we move on to our next race here. And it's the sort of second half of the championship, as it were, with us coming up to round 4, and a very, very different challenge awaits them.
Yeah, and it's not going to be a predictable race at all. We're going from a very twisty circuit with a few straights and a lot of elevation. We're going to Lime Rock Park with this grid, 99 laps, and I think that's just going to be absolute insanity, honestly.
Yeah, it certainly is. So we do have some drivers in to have a chat with us. So let's see who we managed to drag in. I'd love to have a chat. In fact, here we go with Ross McGregor taking a very, very chaotic win tonight. Ross, great to finally actually get you back on the microphone here. That was a pretty mental night, as we would say here in Scotland.
Indeed, I didn't know it was Scotland's David Christie on comms tonight, so that's a bonus.
Only just, mate, only just.
Yeah, so basically I was kind of last minute substitute for Jesper Pedersen, like the world's biggest downgrade. So like Jenny just obviously given me a setup and stuff like that and advised on like the best strategy. So initially I was like, I'm just going to gun it and then make 2 pit stops. But as the race kind of progressed, I was like, I'm saving lots of fuel here. So I just scraped like 28 laps. So I was like a lap short probably. So I managed to save. I was frantically fuel saving for the second stint and somehow saved enough. But obviously I went off because I was lifting and coasted like into the slow corners. I just pushed too hard and went off at the final kind of hairpin. So that was I thought the race was gone, so I was like, I was just going to settle down and you know, just bring it to the end, bring it to the finish, and then obviously I don't know what happened ahead, but the two guys were off in front of me, so I thought, well, that's my second chance, so I'll just sneak through, and that's what I did, and I ended the race with like half a litre, so it was like job done. So I'm very surprised to be here, to be honest, but that was epic fun. Like, these cars are so good, and like, I'm a historic kind of racing fan anyway. That's how I started out sim racing, so yeah, it was amazing, great stuff.
So when you say that it was a last-minute call-up, how much practice have you actually put into this track and this car?
So I did like a few laps on Thursday night, and I did about an hour last night, and then of course I've been at Knock Hill today, David, obviously. So
I actually hate you. I said this in the broadcast as well, is the fact that you know, you're very similar to John Monroe in the fact that you can turn your hand to anything with very little work. Obviously, it kind of glazes over the amount of hours that you put into the sim in general, but I mean, it must be a hell of a boost to be able to do that and come away with the win.
yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, I was like 10 years ago, yeah, like I'd probably take on guys like Genisus and stuff like that, but these days time's kind of a factor. I'm 40 this year, so it's like I'm maybe one of the older ones in the grid, but
Welcome to the club, brother.
but yeah, it's good fun, isn't it? And obviously traction's back as well, so sim racing is like my job, which is great, and it's good just to like have that passion for it and the kind of willingness to just keep going and practicing and just enjoying it, basically.
Well, I was waiting to say if you got anybody you'd like to thank or any sponsors that you'd like to thank, but I think you've just walked yourself into that one very, very nicely indeed.
Yeah, well, Traction, John Monroe, obviously, for you know, keeping me on my toes in a sim racing sense, and obviously Marlowe Watch Company, the finest watches in the land.
My boy knows how to shell. We've got him going well. Ladies and gentlemen, Ross McGregor, your race winner. Congratulations, Ross, and we'll see you at Lime Rock Park.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
There we go. And Nico, I think we'll get you to have a chat with our second place driver of Janusz Simicic.
Yane, last race winner. This time it almost looked like it as well. Very cool fights from you. Insane pace as always. But what happened in those closing laps?
Well, I was just chatting to Martin about the contact in the mid race, and then also a bit about the contact in the last laps. Yeah, it was not great, right? The fight for P1 in the end, like I tried to make the overtake. I put the nose on the inside in the last lap. It somehow worked, and then I went for the switch back to recover the position to turn 4, or I don't know the numbers. And yeah, then we had the contact. P1 turned in a little bit on me, and he went fully sideways. I tried to hit his engine to rotate him back into the correct direction, and then it all just went completely wrong, and he spun out. I lost the lead, and so on. But overall, a very messy race, but very fun race. I think I enjoyed it a lot.
And also good to hear that you guys are also already talking about it. Like, it's very nice to see. This communication is always immediately there, and I don't think Martin holds a grudge or anything as well, right?
No, for sure. Like, even when he was leading after the pit stop and I saw him sliding off, I made 100% sure that I would not do any risky moves to get the position. I really wanted to have a clean, fun race. But I mean, the cars are not anything like what I normally race, and there are weight transfers. There is huge slip angles. Cars are relatively big. And yeah, things happen, slight misjudgments happen, and yeah, I mean, we talk about it. We still all enjoy the racing. We mourn a bit the lost positions, but well, we will return next time and have even more fun.
And that's one of the most important things here as well. Thank you for the fantastic race, Yane. And yeah, I hope that we can see you again at Lime Rock Park with equal enthusiasm.
Oh yes, well, thank you for hosting.
Yeah, always.
Well, there we go. We've got a couple of other drivers to have a chat with as well. I'm just double checking. I think we've got Martin Beyer as well. We can get in for a very quick chat as well as we say hello to Martin. That was maybe not the result you were expecting there, Martin. But either way, a damn enjoyable race.
Yeah, I'm absolutely smiling here. I'm just talked to Jenny and Ross, and yeah, it was such an amazing race. I know there was no intention at all to take me out. It was just a really strange situation where we get tagged up with each other, and there was no way out. And then I got 150 seconds of damage, and that's it. But
Yeah,
overall, the race was amazing. Getting to find Jenny, I wouldn't never have thought I was able to do that. While saving fuel, I was one lap short of fuel in my second stint and just came into the green again when Jenny was behind me. Then saving tires at least and fighting Jenny and overheating when I was behind Jenny in first stint as well. So I had all kinds of problems and somehow managed to cope with all of them. So it was absolutely amazing.
It really is a balancing act, trying to stay fast and keep those tyres under control. And going back to that contact as well, we've seen it on many occasions where that could have gone 50-50. It could have went against you, it could have went for you. So unfortunate to see that. But obviously we move on to Lime Rock Park next time out. Is that a track that you're going to be hoping to have good fortune at?
I have no idea. I don't know the track. And I don't know if I will be available. So this was my first race of the season. So I hope to be able to race again. And
we'd definitely like to have you back, Martin, because to make your debut on this track here and to be so damn competitive as well. I mean, that's a great boost for you.
Yeah, I'm absolutely happy. Just very sad also that Matt, my team member in the CUDA crew, lost the lead in the very last lap as well. So I was hoping he could take all of the merits, and unfortunately didn't work out.
Yep, you'll have to get the voodoo dolls out for the next available round that you're here,
Yep.
Martin. But congratulations either way on finishing the race. Thanks very much for taking part tonight, and hopefully we'll see you lots and lots in the remaining rounds.
Thanks a lot, and I'm looking forward to watch the replay of your stream here.
Excellent stuff. Thanks very much, Martin Beyer there, finishing a little bit down the order after that contact. And our final interview, Nico, I believe you're going to have a chat with Nikolai Bavenbeck.
Yes. Nikolai, 2 for 2 now, right after each other. How do you feel?
I mean, I lucked into that one, let's be honest. I mean, poor Mark Johnson had a luck up on like the penultimate lap into the hairpin. And I just got through even though I was getting overtaken as well. It was quite a hairy moment there, but it was a very messy race for me. Like it just wasn't very clean. And that's disappointing, but obviously a win is very good, and I had to fight for that for sure.
Yeah, as you said, very, very messy race, like all over the place. We saw a couple of times, you were obviously pushing hard, running a couple of times off the track. And, after an incident, I think, between Johnson and Austin Birchfield, you were right up behind them, but then had a few mistakes yourself. But always catching back up to them. It was a very elaborate game of cat and mouse.
I mean, maybe it wasn't intended that way. Like, if I hadn't made those mistakes, it would have been much better, obviously. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to do. And like early on in the race, there was a really good 3-4-way fight with Ricardo, with Mike Mallon, and with Mark Johnson. Like we were sort of together then. It was really good fun to drive. But yeah, it was a wild race. Wild race.
So obviously, Rally International also looking for a very, very good result here with your teammates in P6 and Pro and you once again winning your class. How are you looking forward to Lime Rock Park?
That's going to be a wild track. That's going to be a brawl for sure.
I will be honest, I am hoping that we'll have similar starter numbers again to round 1. So we just have 37 cars around Lime Rock Park.
That's going to be carnage.
Hey, American Le Mans Series did it with multiclass, so I thought it would be a very, very good and fun idea here.
I mean, true, they didn't they have the DPIs around there? And like the GTLM and GTD, and like that's like a whole load of problem.
For USDC, like for the United Sports Car Championship, they started splitting it, but before that, so 2011, 2013 and stuff, the American Le Mans Series had LMP1, LMP2, LMPC, and GT and GTC there. And it was like 50 cars or something, and it was complete and utter chaos. That's why I basically looked at, possible tracks for Trans Am, and I was like, yes, this has to be in.
You've basically chosen chaos as what you've done.
Indeed. But chaos is a lot of good fun. I mean, you had a lot of chaos in your race, and now you're a happy winner.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was up and down, and like I was really frustrated with myself after the first stint, because there was just too many mistakes. The right-hander at the end of what the team has decided to call the hashtag Kinky Straight, we came over that crest and into that right-hander, and like 3 or 4 times I was like looking out my driver's side window to see where the car was going. And that kind of kills the confidence, don't you know? And then like a proper off factor 2 moment where like it requested a pit stop in the middle of a corner. And that's not great either, because suddenly things flash up on your screen and your spotter starts shouting at you in the middle of a corner. So that was some of the issues I had. But yeah, I mean, overall for me, it was a great fight.
Yeah, but congratulations once again. Holding it together in the end, and securing another well-earned victory in AM. And hopefully we can see you again at the front of the grid in 2 weeks at Lime Rock Park.
That would be delightful. Thank you very much.
Any shout-outs you want to do?
I mean, obviously to the team. It's a team effort to get a result like this. We're sharing information, all of that. So really, Scooby, Robin DeVos, Chris Gordon, and Steve Carman, the Scarman, as I've christened him. They're a great bunch of people to be teamed up with.
One hell of a team for sure. But yeah, thank you very much, Nikolai, and hope you have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Well, there we go, our final interview of the evening, and I guess it's time to start wrapping things up as we look forward to the 99 Around the Rock in just 2 weeks' time here. Nico, a fantastic rounds, and we're about to hit the halfway point of the season here. What's your final thoughts?
I honestly, with this round, this was a complete curveball to what I thought would happen in the race. It was great to see the CUDA crew going strong. I'm really, really hoping for them to get a better result at Lime Rock Park. Obviously, Rafa will be strong once again there as well. And just in general, seeing those guys race, seeing all of them pushing to the limit, having incidents, but, there's no hostility. They're talking it out with each other. They're all just having a good time, having a chat, having fun. And, there's nothing better than that.
Well, we have to make sure we get you back out on the grids, and it's been an absolute pleasure sharing the commentary booth with you tonight here, Nico. A huge thank you for giving us colour commentary tonight. Nobody better to really talk us through the season, since it is your proud little child, and I can imagine you are a very happy sim daddy tonight. That sounded super, super weird, and I'm probably never ever going to use that one again. But anyway, we return in 2 weeks' time for round 4, 99 Around the Rock at Lime Rock Park with these monsters is going to be an absolute brawl. You heard it on the post-race interview. A huge thank you, as always, to Daniel Costello behind the scenes for bringing us the wonderful pictures and audio here at Genesis Extreme. A huge thank you to our partners at Genesis Risk as well. Check us out on all the socials. You can see the hashtags there in the bottom right. A huge thank you to all our viewers at home and to all the drivers taking part in this round of the HRSC. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time for more of the same predictable, amazing North American racing. Until next time, my name has been David Christie. It's been my absolute pleasure to be in the box here with you lot tonight. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Back as well as contact already, and the number 3 goes sideways fire into the wall. He's already bounced off the side of the car next to him. I'm not sure if they just...